Salutations everyone, Patrick here in Southwest Fort Worth, giving a little update on my aquaponics systems with aquarium fish in it. Now I started this up a year ago, and in a bit you'll be able to see the video of how I built some of these, but right now I just want to give an update as to what I've got going, lessons learned, things like that. So to begin, we'll start off with this system over here. Again, you'll see a video coming up on how I built this. What I have here is I have the grow bed up here. In the grow bed I've got various aquatic plants. I've also got some aloe vera. I've got some, I just saw at Walmart, they had some cheap little Venus flytraps. So I thought, I'll just throw it in there, see what happens. I've got zucchini squash over here. I've got cherry red tomatoes and cucumbers. Look at the cucumbers, they're flowering over here. Inside this little beta falls, I've got some moss, some sublossertang, pennywort. I've got bamboo growing out of it. I've got some back, some peace lily. There's hornwort, Najas grass, riccia, all different types of moss. Other micro swords. I've got all kinds of stuff going on in the grow bed. I've got a few fish in the grow bed. Some of these plants are now growing immersed instead of submerged because they're actually popping out, which is cool. Down here, and in a bit I'll give for all of them I'll give a little underwater view because I think those are cool. So, but what I did was I drilled a hole. I actually drilled a bigger hole. I had smaller holes before. Drilled a bigger hole. I have it actually splashing down onto the Java moss there, or whatever type of moss. It could be Taiwan, it could be fire, it could be Christmas moss. I don't know what it is, but I just threw some there. I've got others here, but I drilled a big hole. If I were to do this all again, though, I would do it like I have this one set up, where I actually went and built. I put in some PVC, kind of made it like a bulkhead. I never really drilled and put in a bulkhead, or it's more of a DIY bulkhead over here. I've got it right here. Here's the lift, and I just put a little bio ball there to block any fish or anything from getting sucked through, because they will get sucked through there. But anyway, so yeah, if I had to do over again, I would do that on all of them. Something I learned about these PVC connections too, the threaded ones. You really do need some threaded tape or some glue to screw them all the way together. You can't just do it dry because of the way it's threaded. So I thought I messed up, but then after doing some research and then trying it out myself, if you glue it or you put some tape on it, then some threading tape, it'll glue together. And what I do in all of them, I just got like an overflow, and I'll be putting some pothos ivy or something in the back there. I don't do that for every one of them as the intake. Pump is coming down here. This one, this bin itself was interesting because I had opened it up, and out of the 5 IBC totes that I had bought, this one had like a petroleum product in it, so I thought, oh, that's wasted. Then I looked online and saw people clean them out. So as I went, as I bought like a half gallon of Dawn or something, filled it all the way up, drained that out, cut it, went back in with some of the Home Depot generic Dawn, scrubbed it, every inch of it, just scrubbed it, and then rinsed it out, filled it with baking soda to get rid of the soap residue. And then, because I didn't want to just try out, I've got little guppies and stuff in here, because I just didn't want to try out my fish to see if my fish would live in the thing, I went and I caught some fish in the creek across the street, threw them in there, and they were fine. So then I threw in a bunch of guppies that I had, and they're all fine, so everything seems to be working out really well. So it's off of that. Here's the other one I built. I didn't like the way that this was flowing, so I did another little bulkhead PVC thing going on in here. And I think what I might do is I am going to be having built over here like a 15 by 15 sunroom edition, it's going to look pretty cool, in which I do a system of aquaponics with aquarium fish. The difference between my aquaponics systems and others is that I am going to have the focus be on my aquarium fish and not the plants. And I'll just see what plants do well. But all these plants seem to be doing just fine. I know it's not tilapia or trout or catfish bioloads in there, which sometimes I wonder about the water quality that those fish are being kept in. I know it's great for the plants, but I don't know how great that is for the fish. Maybe that's because that's why they have to have hardier fish with those systems. But for mine, bioload isn't going to be as much. But I've got these plants, and I'm just going to see what works. And I've got a bunch of plants. In fact, this right here, this is some marsh plant that I had across the creek, and I threw it in there, and it's growing well. There's watermelon, lavender. This over here I think is what do we got here? Zucchini squash right in there. And they're growing. They seem to be doing great. Along with I've got other different types of moss and aquarium plants, Najas grass, stuff like that. This is going to be more of the hard water system because I've got some live rock down there. Again, I've got moss just kind of hanging. So that's what that is. I've got over here, I've done, my cories are going away. This system right here, I just kind of threw together because I had the extra tubs. These right here, these are the overflows that I like, even though a lot of the tanks, when I have the room built, they're going to be drilled into. But right here, what I have, it's just these self-starting siphons, these overflows. Water stays in here, goes all the way down, so there's always water there, so that when this fills up, it starts the siphon going again. This is a bigger one I built because I wanted more flow and just experimenting with it. But for the price, it seemed it was better to start drilling tanks. So I've got a bunch of tanks over here that are going to be cleaned out. I'm going to reseal some, and I'm going to start drilling them with bulkheads that I bought. I'm going to build another system like this with these tubs. And I think what I'm going to have here is I'm going to get a little small pump that's going to be on a timer. And I'm going to get some of these milk jugs, have them grow in green water, have them at the top, and then on a timer, like once a day, it's just going to pump water from, I'll have it in like a kiddie pool. It'll pump water into where I've got these Daphnia cultures, and every day I'm sweeping through these to get rid of the mosquito larvae and feeding it to the fish. But I'm gonna have mosquito netting on it, so I stop having mosquito larvae in here because I can't really put fish in it with the Daphnia cultures, but it'll kind of automatically feed the Daphnia the green water and refill that gallon jug with more. In here I've also got some self-cloning crayfish, and so we'll get an underwater view of that. And there's kind of some at the top right here. So, but anyway, but this one is all rainwater. I just collected rainwater and threw it in there. I don't know what plants would be good, so I've got some water sprite or Asteria or whatever it is. I've got tomatoes, different types of tomatoes too. Zucchini squash, another big tomato, and cherry tomatoes or hybrid tomatoes. I've got, I don't know, Walmart had to sell like less than $3. You get these little pots. And one thing I do, I don't really care about the soil. Some people do that. They do the aquaponics. They say get rid of all the soil. When I've done it with the pothos ivy, I just kept soil, and then eventually it becomes anaerobic. And it's fine. The roots just start growing into the water. So again, everything's an experiment. I'm just experimenting with stuff. But again, the focus of this stuff is going to be the fish, not so much the plants, but whatever plants happen to grow and do well, that's even better for the fish, because the plants are providing the filtration for the fish that I have. And shrimp, I've got different cherry shrimp. You can't see them in there yet, but they're in there in these different little tanks that I have going into the overflows. And I'm going to be making, I've got some water bottles down here I'm going to be making some fish traps out of. All right, so let's go to the underwater view real quick. Check that out. there's a little underwater view. One thing I did last year too is I had these little things that hang on, and if I were here all the time to go and like switch fish out and stuff, then it'd be all right. But I think without being here to go and switch them out, I'm going to be using just different systems when it comes to the egg-laying fish. Like I might put in some of these tubs, I might put floating mops, and then just put the floating mop into another tub that doesn't have fish whenever I think the rainbows have laid eggs on it. And I think that'd be a better system. And for the egg-laying ones, I'd probably just switch them out and put them in like this kiddie pool size area because it's more shallow. And I'll probably do it with these or this one, and just rotate parents out and let the eggs go in here, and then maybe filter green water in there as well. And I think what I'm gonna also do is I'm gonna have some floating plants that are gonna be just floating in here, and I might put some rummy nose or cardinals or neon tetras whose eggs are light sensitive, and I could do like styrofoam floating plants like aquaponic systems, or some of the floating type of pond plants in here to block the light, provide filtration. And so I'm using I got two uses for that. It's providing filtration and light protection for the light sensitive eggs. Okay, and then finally what I'm going to have in this room, again, it's going to come out to this wall. It's going to be 15 by 15, and I'm probably going to have 3 separate systems that are going to be recirculating water. Kind of a hard water system for some different cichlids, just like labs and a few other cichlids that I like. Bigger regular system where I have just your normal fish, and then I'll have like a rainwater system where I go and I use totes to collect rainwater, filter it, and have that in the system just like it is right here. So that is the update for the hydroponics I have going on now. Last year I was able to leave for like 3 weeks and just put fish in here and put some vacation feeders that were like for 14 days, but with everything that they get as far as mosquito larvae and stuff like that, they all thrived and did fantastic, and bred out here. I'm gonna be gone in Guam for a month. I'm gonna do the same thing, have all the fish out here in these different systems, and I know they'll be just fine. Okay, without any further ado, here is the video of putting some of these together. Again, some lessons learned. Don't drill tiny holes. Do the bulkhead method, where you have it going up, coming out. That's a whole lot better. Find a nice flat spot on the metal. I left these black parts in. Don't just throw those away. You don't need those. Lessons learned. So, but everything's an experiment. Always learning, always having fun. Hope you enjoy this. Alright, hello everybody. Patrick here, Southwest Fort Worth. It is June 9th, and I'm going to show you my aquaponic system. We're actually going to build a different aquaponic system for freshwater tropical fish and aquarium plants and some ivy. So let me show you what our first one looks like over here. So this is one I've done already. And if you look at the top, I've got a grow bed, but instead of being in a regular grow bed, I've got different aquarium plants in here. I've got some micro sword, I've got pennywort, hornworts, I've got moneyworts, java fern, a few other things as well. And then I also have the ivy that's in here. One thing I've done with these is I just get these little, I don't even know what they're called. You find them at Walmart. But like here, I've cut the sides in it. See it better. Cut the sides in it, and put this sewing mesh material onto it, and it's on the bottom, so I've got marbles and mesh material on the bottom. I have some tiger barbs in here. I've got Odessa barbs and black skirt tetras in here, and when they go and they scatter their eggs, they go through the mesh material into the bottom and into the grow bed. I've kind of rigged up this little beta falls over here. So I've got a bait in here, and I'll throw different types of mosses and plants and over here. And then as far as the plants go, I just took some regular, it's like a little dish that you use for washing dishes and stuff. You find them at Walmart, like $1 each. I put some gravel and some kitty litter, just regular kitty litter. You can also use topsoil if you want to use a Wallstad substrate, you can do that. Put that in there, that way I have kind of a bed for my aquatic plants. And then I've got some regular material that is used for other kinds of aquaponics projects as the grow bed, but instead of just filling it all the way up, I just kind of scattered it on the bottom. So, but right here, what happens is down here, I've got just a bunch of guppies, and you put other stuff. We have the pump down here. The pump goes, and instead of going to a bell siphon or having the pump on a timer, I just have it pumping all the time. And it pumps into up here into the grow bed, where I've got a bamboo plant, these other plants, aquatic plants that are filtering the water. And as they're filtering the water, it then comes from over here and then drops back down into the main tank. And it's just a constant flow. I did have, at first, before I put the beta falls, I had the pump going to this, and it would just run in like this. But I like the way that the beta falls worked. And this is already an established system. So I've got this bamboo that's already rooted into this filter cartridge, and so it's just some extra filtration. Even got a little beta in there. So but we're gonna make another one, and we are going to make it with this tote, and I think I'll do some labs and citrus on the bottom. On the top, I'll probably do some Taiwanese fire shrimp or something. I'm just modifying an aquaponics system to go with aquarium plants and aquarium fish. And I've kind of done it inside the house a little bit. I'll do a little tour in here. Where I've got in my tanks, I've got throughout here this pothos ivy, other types of ivy in this plant. I don't even know the name of it. And then I got this basket just hangs on the tank, and I just throw the pot in there, and then I don't really worry about it, because a lot of times the plant's going to grow, and it's going to grow roots inside the tank itself. You can see a bunch of the roots in there from some ivy that's growing over here on the side. So there's some more roots over here with this plant. It's just kind of going nuts over here. And there's some of my Taiwanese fire shrimp. They're guppies. I started doing it, and these are the ivies that you can get them like $6 at Walmart. I'm not even going to take them out of the pot. I'm just going to put them in that white basket that hangs, and they're going to go in the grow bed. But I started it in my room here in this big tank, and now this still has like Vallisneria other plants growing inside this big tank. But you can see the ivy itself has just gone jungle crazy over here. I mean, just huge leaves, big as my hand, growing all over. I've actually had to trim this because it just goes nuts. And all I did with it was I just had it in pots and just leaned it in the top of the tank. But then it started growing inside of the tank and making roots everywhere, and helps filter the water. So that was a nice success, and so I decided to do all my tanks. And then I thought, well, why not do an aquaponic system set up for aquarium fish and aquarium plants? So let me show you how we're going to do that. All right, what you're going to need, you get it's like a 275 gallon tote. You might find them on Craigslist, something like that. Okay, you're gonna need the right drill bit to go into this right here, because you've got to take out these bolts. I'll just do this one real quick. I have to do it with two hands here, but I'll go through everything else you'll need, and then you'll see how I do it. I looked at some reviews on different water pumps. This Eco 396 had a lot of great reviews. A lot of people, they have it running, and they had it running dry for a few days, and it was still working. So I thought, well, that's a good pump. It has good reviews. So I bought it off Amazon. It's like 25 bucks or something. Some old Python hose I don't need anymore. This has a hookup that will go with that Python hose. You gotta get the right drill bits for these screws, extension cord for the pump, and make sure it's an outdoor extension cord, and watertight connection so that you can go and hook up your power line extension cord right here, hooked up to the pump. I even have some ancestors and stuff in here. You can have them hooked up to the pump, and that way you've got the pump running all the time. There are some videos on YouTube where some people use solar power, but those pumps are on a timer, and I had the plug, so I didn't want to worry about. It's more of an investment if you try to get some solar panels to power the pump, but it's possible. You can do it. All right, so get this set up here, do a little time lapse, and you'll see me make this coat. Okay, so I've got a water right here that's being pumped out from the 46 boat pump. It's going to go in the grow bed, get some water in there. I'm going to put a 5-gallon little tank right here. The water's going to go into an overflow into the grow bed. It's going to go out into the main part right here, and I'm going to put these down here. So, spread it out. Looks a lot like kitty litter. Okay. Now I'll put stuff at the bottom of this to give the plecos and labs places to hide. Alright, and here's the system. Put some shrimp at the top, some other plants, but pretty much it's going. Alright, a little update on the aquaponics system. First off, I want to show this. It's something I'm using to keep any kind of egg-laying fish or live bears, and you want the babies to be able to be separated from the parents. Show you what this does. So, all I did was I took a pool noodle and got 3/4 inch PVC. Actually, it's a 1/2 inch. I have one that's a 90-degree elbow. I've got another one 45-degree elbow. I'll show you the finished product of those over there. Put it on there. Put the pool noodle around, and then I get this netting material that you get at like Walmart, and some zip ties, and just kind of put it in there, and then it floats on the top of the water. And so here's a finished one over here. You see it just floats on top. Fish can go in there. New fryer eggs can go through without the parents getting them. I've got one over here. This one I did with this was the first one I made. It had a 90-degree elbow. Anyway, it looks like that. So, let's take an underwater view of the aquaponics system.